Okay. Hey, I'm Kevin. I like to talk about queer stuff and Jesus, and today we're answering your questions from the internet with another episode of Decent Advice. Just so you know how this works, if you ever want to call in your question to the hotline or text your number to the hotline, you can send your questions to 404-507-2625. Nothing's too dumb, nothing's too weird. Send me anything. Faith questions, theology questions, sex questions. I'll do the best I can. I'll give you some decent advice. That's the point. So I'm discovering my sexuality, in parentheses, it's a process, and I'm not really sure what I am. Like, I for sure want to make out with everyone, but in terms of sex, I don't know. Is it okay to say I'm queer while figuring that stuff out, or is there a better term? Yes, you are allowed to identify however you want to. I personally take a lot of comfort in the word queer because it is so kind of ambiguous. It kind of means different things to different people. And for me, as someone who kind of floats between genders, I like the word queer because I am attracted to genders like my own and not like my own. But also, what is gender? So I like queer. And so it's okay to say you're queer before you say I am gay or I am pansexual or bisexual or whatever word you think. So, take your time. And just because you identify as, one thing today, doesn't mean you can't change how you identify later when you have new experiences and new ways of developing. So yeah, pick whatever word is comfortable for you now. Change it later if you want to. Great question, by the way. Here we go again on my own. So this says, I'm a mostly straight man and my wife is a bisexual woman. We follow the purity movement's rules to a letter and waited until marriage for sex. But now as we've deconstructed why we waited and we've joined more affirming circles, we realize that trust is more important to us than monogamy. Ooh. And we're interested in pursuing an open marriage. Wow, okay. Polyamory and consensual non-monogamy are getting a lot more attention lately, but not so much in Christian circles. That's true. Even those that are LGBTQ affirming, using the redemptive movement hermeneutic, do you believe consensual non-monogamy is an option for Christians? 2, do you have any advice for my wife and I as we seek out partners for our newly open marriage or as we discuss opening our marriage with others? We've only told a few people thus far. Wow, okay, so this is really, really interesting and I'm so here for this question. So, in my opinion, and this is also gonna be possibly quite controversial, I think yes. I think using the redemptive movement hermeneutic, well, I wouldn't even say the redemptive movement hermeneutic because it's gonna talk specifically about what we see in the Bible. So what we're talking about marriage is that covenant bond between each other. So I don't know if that would work, but if I'm using the same kind of just deconstruction tools on it, right? What is the point of marriage? And if, a lot of my opinion is mixed so much within certain ideas of just the autonomy of the self. So if everything starts from love, right? If we teach people that they are beloved, and that because they are beloved, they can choose what they do with their body. And if what they're doing is causing life to flourish, then absolutely. And I know people who are in non-monogamous relationships who have been in polyamorous, different combinations of relationships, and it's flourished. They've been more in touch with who they are, they've been more in touch with their spirituality. So I have seen it, and now granted, we all know the horror stories of the one couple who opened up their marriage and the whole thing fell apart, and that's, that comes with the territory of opening up a relationship, but I think that's not because people opened up their relationship. It's because they discovered things about themselves that caused them to go in separate directions. This probably requires an entire dissertation on why poly is okay. And I haven't exactly gotten to that point in all of my work. We're gonna stick with sex right now. But in my opinion and in my mind, yes, I think Christians and whoever the hell else wants to, within the confines of what most people would consider consensual and ethical non-monogamy, if you want to engage with that, go for it. I don't see why not. Didn't know if you're expecting that, but yeah, absolutely. And it says any advice as you seek out partners. I know that there's polyamorous meetup groups on things like meetup.com. Depending on what city you're in, there might be polyamorous, poly or non-monogamous support groups. So look around for those. I'm sure they exist somewhere in your city. Check out your LGBTQ center. They probably know somebody who knows somebody who knows something about it. Yeah, do a little bit of exploring. I think you can find out. I'm excited. Text me back. Let me know how that goes. That was a really great question, and thanks for your honesty. All right, this one is coming in from a voicemail. Let's listen in, shall we?
Hey there. So my question is this. How do I develop a positive and healthy view of sex whenever all of my experiences in the past have not been positive and some were even traumatic? And how do I work through all of this if my own relationship with my body is not great either? And that's my question. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks so much for that question. I would say first and foremost, if you have like some unresolved trauma that maybe you haven't worked through, if you've got issues with body and the way you relate to it, I would start with that first, because there is this like desire to connect with people, and the healthy desire to have sex, right? However, if you're somebody who has a really complicated relationship with sex and you haven't healed from those things, it's really important to take care of the self first. So if you are not already in some sort of therapy practice, I would say definitely start with finding a good therapist that you can see. Secondly, I would suggest maybe doing something to get in touch with your body. I think yoga is a fantastic practice. But overall, really start taking care of you and understand like it's going to be a little bit complicated. And then when you find somebody who you want to be in, partnership with, or even just somebody that you think you might want to have sex with, I wouldn't personally suggest that you just like jump right into having casual sex with somebody that's, no feelings, no nothing attached, because that might stir up some trauma stuff for you. But again, you're an adult, you can do what you want. But yeah, once you're ready to probably get into that sort of thing, just talk to your partners like, hey, like, so I have trauma around X, Y, and Z. And I just want to explore that with you. And if the person is a good human for you, they're going to have space for you. They're going to have understanding. They're going to say like, yeah, we're going to work through this together. So just recognize like, it might take some time, but you'll get there. I think that's good for the questions today. So thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Decent Advice. My name is Kevin. And once again, if you ever want to leave a call or text in a question, you can do that at 404-505-2625. That's the Decent Advice hotline. And I love you. Thank you so much to all my Patreon supporters for making this shit possible. So if you want more decent advice, become a sustaining partner. That way I won't have to be doing all these other side hustles. Honestly, I'm really, really trying to make this like my main gig. So if you love this, check it out. I love you. I hope you have a good day. Bye.